This is not just a story. This is revenge.
The strange thing about greedy men, they always believe the paperwork will save them. My husband learned that lesson 3 days after his father's funeral. Not in court. Not during some dramatic family fight. No. He learned it standing in our kitchen, holding divorce papers in one hand, while realizing the house he thought he owned had never belonged to him in the first place. And the worst part, I signed the papers immediately. No arguing, no crying, no begging. That's what terrified him later. Because people only stay calm when they already know something you don't. And honestly, my father-in-law knew exactly what his son was. He had known for years. What nobody understood yet was how long he had been quietly building the trap before he died. And by the time his son realized it, every exit was already sealed. My marriage looked perfect from the outside. Large house, family business. Things din. So this is expensive dinners where everybody smiled marred too hard. Classic upper middle class malperformance art. But behind closed doors, my husband treated kindness like a temporary investment. Something you fake until witnesses leave the room. In front of his father, he became a different man entirely. Helpful, respectful, charming. The second we were alone, cold silence. Disappearing for nights. Secret phone calls. Random cruelty designed so carefully, it almost sounded accidental. You're too sensitive. You should be grateful. Without this family, where exactly would you go? That line stayed with me. Because narcissists always say the quiet part out loud eventually. They don't love you, they inventory you. And his father noticed more than people realized. Especially after my son was born. See, wealthy older men who built businesses from nothing have a strange instinct. They recognize predators quickly, even when the predator shares their last name. One night, after another humiliating dinner where my husband openly flirted with another woman right in front of me, my father-in-law asked me something quietly while everyone else left the table. Does he talk to you like that when I'm not around? I lied first. Then I looked at him and stopped lying. He didn't react dramatically, didn't yell, didn't confront his son, which should have scared everyone more. Because calm men make decisions long before they make noise, and months later, I realized the conversation had changed everything. My husband had one fatal weakness: overconfidence. He genuinely believed being the biological son's like guaranteed inheritance. Didn't matter how he acted. Didn't matter how recklessly he cheated people. You torment. Didn't matter how many lies stacked underneath him like rotten wood. He believed blood protected him from consequences. And honestly, for most of his life, it had. His father cleaned it up. Whenever debts appeared, someone handled them. Whenever relationships collapsed, he blamed the other person and moved on to the next woman, waiting for expensive gifts and fake promises. He wasn't intelligent. He was insulated. There's a difference. The problem with insulated people is they mistake protection for superiority. And my father-in-law saw it happening in real time, especially after his health started failing. That's when he began quietly asking strange questions. Questions about legal custody. Questions about the business structure. questions about trust ownership. At the time, I thought he was organizing paperwork before death. I was wrong. He wasn't preparing for death. He was preparing for his son. Nobody notices revenge when it looks like routine paperwork. That's why the most dangerous traps are always boring. Traps are always boring on the surface. Over 6 months, my father-in-law slowly changed everything. The house title, business shares, bank authorizations.
Even insurance beneficiaries.
But he did it quietly. No family meetings, no announcements, no emotional speeches, just lawyers, private appointments, witness signatures, and one tiny detail his son ignored completely. My father-in-law stopped discussing money around him. That's as in, discussing money around him. That should have been the warning sign. Because powerful men only go silent financially when they've stopped trusting someone permanently. Meanwhile, my husband someone permanently. Meanwhile, life worse. More affairs. More insults. More arrogance. The mask started slipping completely after doctors confirmed his father's condition was terminal. That's when he stopped pretending to care. Torment. I remember standing outside the hospital room while he whispered on the phone to one of his girlfriends. Talking about vacations. Talking about finally being free soon. His father heard him. He never mentioned it. But later that night, he asked me for my son's full legal documents. That was the moment the trap locked into place. I just didn't understand it yet. The funeral ended on a Thursday. By Sunday morning, my husband handed me divorce papers. That fast. No mourning period. No hesitation, just pure impatience. He sat across from me at the dining table. He sat in a black dress shirt. He was obviously like he was already celebrating something. And honestly, he looked relieved. I think this is best for everyone. That fake corporate tone people use when they think they hold all the leverage. Then came the mistake. He smirked. Actually smirked. Like the performance was finally over. Like I was about to leave empty-handed while he inherited the business, the house, the cars, everything. And here's the terrifying part. I signed immediately. No negotiation, no lawyer threats, nothing. Just my signature. You could actually see confusion hit his face for half a second. Because narcissists expect resistance. Quick surrender makes them nervous. But greed overpowered caution. He grabbed the papers and left before lunch. By evening, his entire world started collapsing. The first call came from the family attorney. Not to me. To him. And according to his cousin who later described it, the color drained from his face within seconds. Because the attorney informed him of something very simple. The house no longer belonged to his father's estate. It legally belonged to me. Not partially, entirely. Then came the second revelation. The business ownership structure had transferred majority control into a protected trust connected to my son. His son. The grandson. Not him. And suddenly, every calculation he made after the funeral evaporated. The divorce papers. Meaningless. The intimidation. Meaningless. The affairs. Public now. Because the women he entertained weren't interested in him. They were interested in access, lifestyle, status, inheritance. And once rumors spread that he controlled nothing, they vanished almost overnight. One girlfriend blocked him before midnight. Another exposed private messages online after he asked her for money. That's the thing about parasites. They abandoned dead hosts immediately, and for the first time in his life, nobody came to rescue him. But the truly brutal part was still coming. See, my father-in-law didn't just remove his son from the inheritance. He documented why. Carefully, legally, quietly. There were letters, recorded meetings with attorneys. Medical evaluations confirming during every signature, even written concerns regarding financial recklessness and manipulative behavior. He built an anti-contestation wall, brick by brick, because he knew exactly what kind of son he raised. Threats, court pressure, emotional manipulation, then rage, real rage. The kind that appears when narcissists realize reality no longer bends around them. He called me screaming one night, demanding I fix this, as if I controlled it. As if his father hadn't made the decision himself. And honestly, that's when I finally understood something horrifying. He never loved anyone. Not me. Not his father. Not even his own child. People were just doors to him. Doors to money. Doors to validation. Doors to control. And now every single door had closed simultaneously. He wasn't grieving loss. He was grieving access. The court battle lasted 8 months. 8 miserable months for him. Because every accusation he made collapsed under documentation. Every challenge failed. Meanwhile, the business board quietly removed him from operational authority after discovering financial irregularities tied to personal spending. That part destroyed him more than losing the money. Because narcissists survive on image, and once wealthy people smell instability, they disappear. Invitations stopped. Friends stopped calling. Even extended family distanced themselves after portions of the legal filings became public. Nobody wants proximity to a Sing Sing reputation. The Stums kulefes ens they saw, especially in wealthy social circles where image is currency. The final humiliation came during the last hearing. The judge referenced his father's written statement directly. One sentence, cold, precise, surgical. My son mistakes entitlement for character. That line destroyed whatever remained of him, because it came from the only man whose approval he actually wanted. And the man said it from beyond the grave. People think revenge feels exciting. It doesn't. Not real revenge. Real revenge feels quiet, administrative. Like watching gravity finally work. I stayed in the house with my son. The business continued operating under professional management. Life stabilized slowly. But my ex-husband? He became the exact thing he used to mock. Unwanted. Financially unstable. Socially radioactive. The girlfriends disappeared first. Then the fake friends. Then the confidence. Last I heard, he was trying to start small investment schemes with strangers who still believed his last name meant something. But reputations die strangely. Not all at once. In pieces. And honestly, that's worse. Because every morning he wakes up remembering the exact second he threw divorce papers onto a table he didn't own inside a house his father had already taken away from him. There's something deeply unsettling about betrayal inside families. Because strangers stab you from the front. Family members study your blind spots first. And maybe that's the real lesson here. The loudest person in the room usually thinks power means control. But real power is quiet documentation, silent preparation, patience, the ability to let someone destroy themselves while believing they're winning. My ex-husband thought inheritance was automatic. His father understood something far darker. Sometimes the most dangerous threat to a family name is the person born into it. And there is a very specific boundary you never cross with a quiet person. Because once the trap is set, you won't even realize you're inside it until you hear the snap. Tell me in the comments, at what exact moment did he deserve what happened to him? And trust me, the next breakdown gets even colder.